Hello everyone and welcome to the Hobby Guard. I have been playing Doom The Dark Ages Revelations DLC almost religiously this weekend. And I say this weekend because I am a fairly old fella. I am an onk, as I always say, as the kids like to say. And I have responsibilities galore and very few time at my disposal. That being said, I could not let the release of a new Doom game pass without me playing it. I am a long time fan of the franchise. I have loved the game. It was literally the first video game that I ever played, the old Doom 93 games. And so, Doom Revelations was announced. I uploaded my reaction to the trailer here on this channel, and I was extremely excited. I did think to myself though, I haven't played the Dark Ages since I finished the campaign all the way back on release on May 2025. So last year, right? More than a year ago since I last played. And I thought to myself, maybe I should at least play the tutorial on Nightmare difficulty just so that I can get re-familiarized with the controls and my muscle memory can kick back in and whatnot. And two things became apparent. First thing was, Doom Eternal was such an influential game in my muscle memory of my fingers, my reactions, my twitching with a controller, that even after not having played that game for at the very least 4 years, probably going close to 5 now, but I used to play that game a lot, like at least 4 years ago. Until 4 years ago, that is. And the last Doom that I played was the Dark Ages. I played that one a lot. But even after that, going back to the Dark Ages after a year, and my hands were still doing Doom Eternal reactions, where I was still going for Doom Eternal buttons and commands and keys that no longer exist. Anyways, that's not the point of the video. The second thing that became apparent was as soon as I finished that tutorial level on Nightmare difficulty, mind you, no biggie, whatever, it's just a tutorial. I hopped in on the first level of the DLC, and I immediately became disappointed that all my hard work relearning the controllers of the Dark Ages was wasted. Which, again, mind you, I don't have a lot of free time, so that was very valuable free time that I spent trying to relearn those controllers. Those buttons, those controls. But not only was it wasted, but also I had to. The reason it was wasted rather was that I had to relearn everything, because this is not a spoiler for the story, I don't think. At the very start of the Dark Ages, you lose basically everything that you have, and you have to learn to use the new spear soon enough after you get your shield back. Yes. But just me having to relearn the spear, which actually, funnily enough, using the spear is a lot more like Doom Eternal in a way, because you get the mid hook and other options, but with the whole parry integration. Oh, you also get the dash, so there is that as well. But that's not the point. The point is, I fell into despair. I thought to myself, you know what, I only got a weekend with this game. There is no way in hell, no pun intended, that I will be able to relearn all these controllers soon enough, fast enough, for me to be able to play this game. And mind you, I'm not playing on Nightmare anymore at this point. I'm playing on Ultra Violence, whichever is before Nightmare difficulty. Because again, if I had all the time in the world, I would normally go for a Nightmare run on my first try, because why not? I got all the time in the world, right? But I don't. I have very limited amount of time, and I'm trying to avoid, currently, because I haven't finished the campaign yet, I'm trying to avoid spoilers for enemies and story spoilers as much as I can. Yes, I am one of those weirdos who likes the story in Doom games. Yes, we exist. Yes, you'll never be as awesome as us. We'll court your girl with our knowledge of the Doom, apparently now Doom multiverse that exists. But I digress. I thought to myself, there's no way that I'll be able to learn to play with the spear fast enough for me to be able to enjoy the game this weekend. But I give it a shot nonetheless, and sure enough, the game does its thing. Muscle memory starts to readapt, starts to recode. My neurons, my brain cells start to create different connections, and my fingers start to act out of their own accord pretty much, and I start to feel more and more like John Wick. And then, boom, I get the shield back. And now I have to learn to switch between the shield and the spear. You don't have to, but I feel bad if I don't. I don't want to neglect the shield, and certainly there are some encounters or some sections of an encounter which are better with the shield than with the spear, but the abilities that you get using one or the other are very different. You cannot dash with the shield, but you can dash with the spear, so it is fairly complex. So my brain is blowing up, and I am thinking there is no way, and I'm panicking at this moment, right? Inwardly, obviously, I'm a stoic person. I'm a stoic barbarian, so I'm not like losing my crap over it. But inwardly, I'm like, there's no way. There's no way I won't get past this third or second level. I'll never learn to play this game because I no longer have the time. And then I remembered, I said to myself, you silly barbarian, do you lack faith? Do you lack a spine? Do you remember not when you were but a puny, scrawny, 10-year-old loser nerd kid who pirated Doom from his school computer and covertly, secretly smuggled it into the family's computer at home because you were not allowed to play video games, and you installed it in your family's computer, and you had no idea how to play a video game because that was your first video game, and you would spend days, literal days, coming home after school trying to figure out where to find the key, where to find the secret door, where to find the ammo, how to defeat X or Y demon, and by the time you reach what you thought was the last level, oh silly you, that was only the last level in the first chapter of the game out of 4 chapters in the Doom 94 version of the game, you silly little scrawny nerd. And I went back to that moment, and many years later playing Doom 3 and feeling terrified of the dark. I was still a young fella and feeling terrified of the dark. And in those, I also felt the same playing Doom 2 and all the other Dooms that I played, admittedly. But I'm just time skipping here, okay? Flash forward a few years down the road, and I am playing Doom 3 and I am terrified, and there is weird noises coming out of the walls, and then as soon as I feel like I get a hang on the game, I get sent over to hell, and I lose all my weapons, and I lose all my cool ammo and stuff that I had collected, and now the demons look differently, and they are scarier, and I am panicking, and I am thinking once again to myself, there is no way I'll be able to finish this game. And then flash forward a few more years to Doom 2016. I am now an adult. I have plenty of jobs. I have like 2 or 3 jobs at the very least. I have 1 free day a week where I get to play Doom for the whole day. And so I do, and I do nothing but play Doom for 1 entire day a week. And I am thinking to myself, there is no way. This Doom game is so different. There's no way I'll be able to beat this game. Like, so much stuff has changed. I never learned to like quick swap in the previous Doom games. It's like a whole new thing. Now there's dashes, now there's double jumps. What is going on? And I started panicking, but I kept my cool. In the end, I kept my cool, and then flash forward to Doom Eternal. Oh my god, Emperor of Mankind, Doom Eternal was the craziest experience, because there's like so much stuff going on. You got like your flamethrower and your grenade and your bomb and your this and your that, and then you get your meat hook and then your weapons and your weapon mods, and you have to like balance everything with the chainsword. But over and over and over again, time and time again, I just managed to keep my cool, and the game eventually taught me what to do. It eventually threw a skill wall at me, saying you shall not pass unless you figure out the rules that you need, like the skills that you need to succeed in this encounter. and they would just throw that at me. And as long as you keep your cool and you use your noggin as best as you can to the best of your ability, and trust me, this noggin is not very big. Do not be fooled by the big helmet. The contents within are not necessarily equivalent. But anyways, if I could figure it out, anyone can figure it out. You just have to like keep trying and keep trying and keep trying. And I had this weird moment, like shared experience across many years of my life, many versions of myself, from a young little scrawny puny kid to this massive jacked Chad barbarian that I have become in my adulthood, who has way too many responsibilities and does way too much overtime and has way too little free time and has way too many pets. And it was weird. It was like in this moment of time, I was in contact with all these other versions of my past self, and we all were feeling the same thing, and we all collectively thought to ourselves, just keep your cool and trust the process. And the game inevitably, therapeutically guides you through. It gives you the tools that you need to succeed. Now, I say therapeutically, and that is not an overstatement. It does wonders. That feeling of self-sufficiency and self-dependency, it's hard to explain, but that feeling of confidence, once you finally figure it out, once you try an encounter, for example, in this case, like Revelations, there's new monsters, new weapons, new abilities, some of the old skills and abilities, and like even upgrades, like armor and ammo upgrades that I had are gone, and I have to like balance all these new things. And then there's this moment where you're trying an encounter over and over and over and over again. There is a moment where it just kind of all clicks, all comes in together, and then you land the final blow in that stupid leader or demon or whatever you're fighting, and you glory kill the hell out of that bastard, and you just emerge at the other end, at the other side of that struggle, feeling like your belt buckle got 5 times bigger, feeling like your beard has gotten longer, like the muscles on your jaw are clenching so hard that they have been pumped. You have gains in your jaw, your heartbeat is racing, and you feel like you need to head outside and have a cigarette, even if you no longer smoke, much like myself. And that feeling of, I earned this. That feeling of, like, again, self-sufficiency is honestly and truly therapeutic. Because in life, at least me personally, time and time again, I find myself in a situation where I feel and I think to myself, what is happening? I start to panic. There's no way that I can get out of this. I screwed up. And we can talk about like silly situations of like social anxiety or an awkward moment at work, or I can talk to you about very dangerous like situations with real life consequences where, whoops, I accidentally aggroed the wrong guy on the street, and now he's coming at me with a weapon, and you know, all those lights start to go off in your brain. I'm talking about like all sorts of situations, all encompassing anxieties and those moments where we start to panic, and then you just, you know, doom guy, your inner doom guy kicks in and just said, chill, you silly barbarian, trust the process, reap and tear until it is done. And that's it. You just gotta silence your mind and do it over and over and over again until you get it done. And sure enough, there's a lot of science behind that, but I almost kind of don't want to even get into it. I think the remaining time of this video will be much better spent glazing ID Software for the magnificent job that the magnificent work that they have done along the years, the many years, but specifically, let's talk about the last 3 Doom games and their respective DLCs. I really want to applaud them for the amazing job that they have done in guiding players, in creating game systems. Sure, some are more flawed than others. I certainly think that the Dark Ages is like the top of the top of what can be achieved in their style of first person shooter. I think that they grabbed every little teaching that they could have from their previous games and implemented it on this one. Creative differences aside that I might, or preferences that I may have or not in regards of the aesthetics or the story, which are, by the way, amazing, but I might prefer more certain tones than others. That doesn't matter. The game that they did is amazing. The attention to detail in the mechanics of the game, the flow zone, the fun zone that the game puts you into, all the tools that you are handed, and the very natural way in which the game teaches you how to properly use them, and sort of like blocks you or limits at the very least your ability to cheese your way out of situations, kind of to cheat your way out of situations. You can't IDDQD or IDKAF in this game, so to speak. You can't cheat I'm sure there's some cheats if I really look into it, but you can't cheat your way out of these encounters. You gotta figure it out. Perhaps someone with a bigger brain than mine could figure it out too, or could cheat their way out of it. I'm not sure. In any case, I'm not playing that game to cheat the game. I'm playing that game to dominate the game, and you cannot feel like an absolute badass Chad hero, warrior, champion, hell-destroying Doom guy marine, and after dog walking the biggest, baddest demon that you've ever seen, unless you get your ass handed to you by that demon plenty times before that. It's like the Dark Souls effect as well. I love those Dark Souls game, Soulsborne games, all that sort of thing. It's that sort of effect, right? Where at the end you feel like, hey, I earned this. This was not given to me, with the exception that in Doom, the Dark Ages, or in Doom in general, you can't really overlevel. You can't really do that. In Dark Souls, there's always like a cheese. You can always like overlevel. You can farm for souls. That's not quite the case in the Doom games. And so, especially with all the horrible layoffs that recently went down at ID Software, and I have ranted passionately and candidly about it in a previous video, so I'm trying to keep a more positive attitude in this one. But what the hell, man? It was like literally, out of all the studios in Microsoft, that was literally the one that was doing like everything right. Like it or not, agree or disagree with their decisions, they were doing everything that a gamer asks of a video game studio. Like, hey, publish as often as you need to provide a good game, and get in touch with your customers and get feedback from them and provide a good experience, and do that over and over again, but don't make it so much the same that it's just a redo of the first game, but don't make it so different that it's something completely different. But don't do it so fast that it's a crappy, buggy game, but don't take so long that we never get to see it. Bethesda, The Elder Scrolls. Anyways, in this video, I am trying to keep a more positive attitude. And so, yeah, again, I just want to glaze ID Software for their amazing work that they did. And I realize that Bethesda owns them, but that's besides the point. I am very happy with those games, and it is a bittersweet experience, unfortunately, because the more excited I feel about when I'm playing the Dark Ages, and the more moments of like, oh man, this is it, those moments of bliss, of thinking like, I imagine that's what like the people who used to watch Jimi Hendrix play live, I imagine that's what they felt. I mean, the sober ones, of feeling like I am watching something that won't repeat itself. This is a momentous. I'm having trouble translating here, but this is an iconic moment, a monumental occasion, a monumental experience. That's the feeling I get when playing the Dark Ages, and part of me is heartbroken that I know it's very unlikely that we as fans will get our hands on a similar experience, at least in a long time. But regardless, to everyone who poured their heart and soul into this game, into this work of art, I thank you, I salute you, and to anyone who hasn't played this game, do yourself a favor and just give. It's certainly not for everyone, right? It's certainly like a bit adrenalinic, if you will. Like, this is one of those games where like you really sometimes need to set the controller down and walk a little around the house and then come back. But the fact that it engages you to the core that much makes it a very particular experience, and once again you just come out the other end feeling energized, feeling amazing, feeling like you earned it. That's the best way I can put it. You never feel like the game is cheating you. You maybe feel like the game is extremely challenging, but I was never like, oh yeah, this is BS. Like I was never. That is the one thing keeping me from throwing my controller at the TV. That and the fact that I'm not 13 years old. But yeah, like the fact that the game is fair, and like when I mess up, I know I died because I messed up, and I know kind of exactly how I messed up. And when I win, I know it wasn't that I just got lucky. I know it was because I was I was able to keep my cool long enough to solve the puzzle of battle and violence and the dance of death and gore and metal that is Doom Eternal. So with that being said, now I would like to know your your opinions in the comments down below. I'll try to put some gameplay of either me. Did I say Doom Eternal again? Doom the Dark Ages. I'll try to put some gameplay in this video. I don't know what I ended up getting my hands on. Maybe some very old footage of me, like 5-year-old footage of me playing the Doom Eternal, or maybe even older footage of me playing Doom 3, or maybe I was able to rescue some of my footage from my current playthrough of Doom the Dark Ages. Either way, you'll notice I'm not like at least in general, I'm not like an amazing gamer, okay? I'm not a super sweaty meta gamer guy who can like quick swap and dash and everything. Like, I barely have time to play, and again, I am old, I am tired, I'm getting slower, and I have less and less time. Basically, I play like 2 days a week. Like, I get to play 2 times a week, basically, that's what I'm trying to say. So again, it's very little time that I get to invest in this game, so feel free to judge my gameplay in whatever footage I end up using, but I'll just add that to my argument. Like, you don't need to be some sort of Jedi magic wizard John Wick human to